Today we are continuing in the world of solving inequalities. So today is a nice, easy, short day that is very similar to what we did last time. So in this first example, it says, walk me through how to solve this step by step. So what that means is we need to figure out how to solve this. If it was an equal sign, it would be easy. So it's the same thing, but it's not an equal sign. It's a greater than or equal to sign. So what we learned in the very first month of school is that whenever we have parentheses, we need to get rid of those parentheses by distributing. So 2 times 4 is 8 with an x. 2 times 1 is positive 2. Then I rewrite the other side. So to solve for x, I need to move the letter to the left. So I'm going to subtract 6x, and I'm going to subtract 6x. That leaves me with 2x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 4. So now it's just an easy two-step equation. We subtract the constant, minus 2, and that leaves me with 2x is greater than or equal to 2. We get x by itself by dividing by 2. So my final answer is x is greater than or equal to 1. So I can graph that on a number line. I'm going to put a 1 in the middle of my number line. I'm going to circle it. There's a line below, so I'm going to color in my line. It's pointing to the right, so I color to the right. So that means that the x's could be 1 or any number greater than 1. It could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4. Very easy. So now the only new thing today is that we have one new rule, which says when you multiply or divide by a negative, you blank the sign. So you did this in 7th grade. Some of you might remember. But if you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip the inequality sign. So what that means is we solve like normal at first. We subtract 6 from both sides. That leaves me with negative 8x is greater than 40. We get x by itself by dividing by 8, negative 8, sorry, divide by negative 8 on both sides. So the way that I used to remember this is if you see line, line, flip the sign. When you divide by a negative, when you're dividing by a negative number, your symbol is going to have to flip. So my final answer, x, 40 divided by negative 8 is the number negative 5. So I'm going to put negative 5 on my line. I'm going to put a circle. I'm going to keep it open because there's no line. And I'm going to shade everything to the left. So that means that the x value is not negative 5. It's any number less than negative 5, like negative 6 or negative 7 or negative 8. Very easy. Let's try these 4 at the bottom, and then you can try the back on your own. So in example number 1, we're going to do the exact same thing. We solve it like an equation. I have a border. I move my constant to my number. That leaves me with a negative 5x is greater than 10. I get x by itself by dividing both sides by negative 5. So that leaves me with an x. When you divide by a negative, your symbol is going to flip. 10 divided by negative 5 is negative 2. So I put a negative 2 on my line. I circle it. No line below means we don't color. And then we shade everything to the left. Okay, let's try, we'll go not in order. Not that these numbers even make any sense at all anyways. My bad. Let's try number 4. So number 4 is the same thing. So we need to get rid of the constant first. That's the number. So 6x is greater than 18. We get x by itself by dividing both sides by 6. So my answer is x. There is no negative. We did not divide by a negative. So that sign just stays as it is. There is no dividing by negative. So that just gets to stay. So I put a 3, put a circle, and I shade everything to the right. So my x, my possible solution, it could be 4, it could be 5, it could be 6, any number to the right of 3. Last one, same thing. This one's just a little bit bigger. So in number 2, I have parentheses, just like the very first one we did on this page. 3 times 2 is 6 with an x. 3 times 4 is a positive 12. I just bring down the right side because there is no parentheses there. I need to move my letter to the left, so I'm going to subtract 4x. I'm going to subtract 4x. That leaves me with 2x plus 12 is less than or equal to 2. Now it's an easy two-step equation where we move the constant by subtracting 12. 2 minus 12 is the number negative 10. We get x by itself by dividing by 2. Now notice, we did not divide by a negative, so it doesn't flip. There's no negative that we're dividing this by, so the sign gets to stay. My answer is negative 5, but it didn't have a sign flip because this number here was a positive. You only flip the sign if you divide by a negative. So on my graph, here is negative 5. There's a line below it, so I get to color it in. And I shade everything to the left. So x could be negative 5, it could be negative 6, it could be negative 7, and so on. Go ahead, try number 5. Last but not least, very easy. If you divide by a negative in your very last step, that's when you flip the sign. So try number 5, and then you can flip over to the back and try the ones on the back.